If you've been following me for a while, then you know that I've been struggling with anxiety. And there are some things that I just want you to know if you are also struggling with anxiety. So let's go. The first one is that I just want you to know that a lot more people are struggling with anxiety than you think. Or if we look around us when we're around friends or at our job, then it can appear that everybody is just so confident and knows what to do and knows what to say. But a lot more people are struggling with a mental health issue than we sometimes think. I really noticed this that if you start to open up about this, so you talk about this with your friends and with your family, then a lot of people will also open up and tell you the things that they are struggling with. And for me, this really helped in knowing that I am certainly not the only one that has been struggling with anxiety, that I'm just not the only one. And the second thing that I've learned after living with anxiety for more than 15 years is that you can do everything right and still struggle with anxiety. And with doing everything right, I mean that you can follow all the advice people give you. So you can eat the perfect way, so no sugar, no drinking coffee. You can have a perfect sleep schedule. You can do lots of yoga, breathing exercises, and just do everything that they say that you should do if you have anxiety. But it can still be the case that this just isn't enough for you and it just doesn't really do anything for your anxiety. I know all of these things can help a bit, and for some people it really does work, but doing all of these things and it not working, it's just not that you haven't tried hard enough. I think even the opposite. I think you've been trying way too hard, or not way too hard, but you've been trying really, really hard for a really long time, and it's just not enough for you because your anxiety is just something that needs more. And the third thing I want you to know is that anxiety in itself is actually a very useful and normal thing. So what happens when we are anxious is that the body activates the autonomous nervous system. And what happens then is that we are preparing for a certain danger around us. And this kind of danger can be everything, actually. So our body doesn't really make a distinction between something that is actual physical danger or something that is just making us anxious or making us nervous. For example, giving a presentation at work. Our body just notices that it is something that we worry about and it sees it as a type of danger. So the body responds to this. And actually, this is a very normal thing. So after the thing that we find scary, our body returns to normal again. So the parasympathetic nervous system is activated then, and you kind of return to baseline, to normal, to neutral. But if you notice that you don't really return to baseline again, so you feel that type of nervousness the whole day, every day, then this is something different. And then it might be a good idea to find some help. Okay, number 4, and something that I also find really, really important, is that you know that having anxiety isn't your fault. A long time I thought it was my fault. I thought it was something I just had to get over. I thought it was something that it was my job to keep it under control, that if I felt anxious in a certain situation, that it was just me overreacting and I should just get my shit together. Especially when I did my job, I found it really, just stupid of myself that I felt anxious. And also I didn't want to feel anxious because I thought the role that I had at my job was something that in which I have to really be a confident person, and I couldn't be anxious and I couldn't be nervous. That even made me focus more on the fact that I was feeling nervous. But anyways, it just, I want you to notice that being or feeling anxious, it really isn't your fault. It is the body in some way signaling to you that something is off. And I know that, for example, if you get a panic attack, you can say to yourself in a very rational voice that it isn't necessary to be anxious, to have a panic attack, that everything is completely safe and fine. But anyways, your body is telling you it's not. And it is not something that we can just stop thinking all the thoughts. Our body is going to take over. It's thinking that something is wrong, that there is a certain type of danger, and it's going to respond to it. And that was especially happening with me, that I noticed in social situations or at my job, for example, that I just felt my body signaling something is wrong, there is a danger, and you should run and not be here. And of course, I could tell myself everything is fine, you don't have to be nervous, you're safe, just be normal. But it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Or at least it doesn't work for me. And I know now with my medication, with the Lexapro I'm taking, that signal is not happening anymore. So my body is not telling me something is wrong. It's telling me everything is fine. So I noticed that this is just something that's very different for a lot of people. Some people are have a very relaxed nature in itself, and some people are just more prone to anxiety. And I also learned that it is really something that is hereditary, something that runs in families. I know that it's something that runs in my family. Yeah, so thinking it is your own fault, it's just not true. Okay, and the last thing that I want you to know about anxiety, and something that I learned, is that forcing down your thoughts about anxiety, or the anxious thoughts that you have, is not gonna work. Like I said before, I tried this also. I tried not giving the thoughts any attention. I tried pushing them away. But I think this even makes it worse, because then I also have to kind of control my mind in a way. And that is something that we can't do. Those thoughts are just popping up in our head, and it's something we have very little control over. I do think that we in the end have the control over what we do with those thoughts. So if we give attention to them, yes or no. I think the challenge is, especially when we have anxiety, of letting the thoughts be there and just consider them as thoughts, and only thoughts and nothing else. And that's something that's really difficult, and that I am also working on. But I noticed that if we always try to avoid those thoughts, so if we always try to find a distraction and always consider these thoughts as something that we can't have, then it even becomes worse. For me, it really helped in letting the thoughts be there. Before, just letting the thoughts be thoughts, and doing the things I want to do anyways, instead of also having to think positive thoughts and not think of the negative. It's something that's really difficult for the mind to do, to not think of something. So just allowing the thoughts to be there and kind of shrugging your shoulders, like, okay, there they are again, the negative thoughts. I think the thoughts sometimes become a little bit less, or we give them less value. Okay, so these were 5 things that I think are really important for you to know if you are struggling with anxiety. So let me know down in the comment section if you want to share anything about you struggling with anxiety, or if you have any questions, or just anything related to mental health. I hope I'll see you again in the next video. Bye.